You are listening to the Lawyer Life Podcast, episode number 59, listener Q&A on how to take purposeful breaks and sustain momentum. More important than selecting a particular technique for yourself is to tune into your own energy and focus signals. If you start to feel like your mind is wandering, your shoulders are tight, or your body starts to get uncomfortable from sitting for too long, that is your body asking for a break. And pay attention to those things. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Lawyer Life Podcast. If you are here, I promise you it is for a reason. Maybe you're a practicing attorney, maybe you are a professional woman, and you just know deep down that something is missing, and you're ready to manifest the life and the career that better aligns with who you are and who you want to be. If you are someone that's wanting more balance, more happiness, and fulfillment in their career, you are in the right spot. I am your host, Autumn Noble, and I am a practicing attorney as well as a life and career coach for attorneys. I have devoted my entire legal career as well as my coaching business to helping women succeed in law. We all know that women are leaving the legal industry at a rate much higher than our male counterparts, and I am here to change that. If you want to transform your legal practice, create your own space, find some independence, and build your own practice that gives you flexibility and control over your career, you are in the right spot. I have helped hundreds of women from all over the world transform their legal careers. And yes, sometimes that means pivoting out of law altogether. This podcast and the Lawyer Life Collective will provide you with everything that you need to do just that. And I am so happy that you are here and joining us on this journey. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. I am so glad that you are here. Before we dig into today's content, I want to share with you a really important announcement, and I didn't want to save it to the end because I don't want you to miss this. I am so excited to announce that I am going to be speaking at the Resilient JD Summit Beyond Burnout that is coming up at the close of June. This free 3-day virtual summit is designed for female attorneys who are ready to reclaim their calm, clarity, and confidence. If you've ever felt the pressure of long hours, high stakes, and constant demands, this summit is for you. And did I mention that it's free? I will be sharing practical strategies that I've learned about how to use your mind to fuel success and momentum instead of getting caught in procrastination and negative thought loops. And I will be doing this along 16 other amazing speakers that all understand what it's like to practice law as women. Save your spot by following the link in the podcast show notes or following the links posted on any of my social media accounts. I really hope that you will join us for this amazing and free opportunity to get some meaningful support in your own time. Today, we're talking about a topic that I get asked about a lot: how to take meaningful breaks without losing your momentum. This has been the topic of this month's podcast, including the meditation that I released last week that provides you with a very simple 5-minute guided meditation to support your endeavors to take more meaningful breaks and sustain your forward motion. Because let's be honest, when you are busy and in the moment and in that space of trying to hustle and get something done in managing a packed schedule on top of it, it can often feel like stopping is the same thing as failing and falling behind. What's more, in a profession where we monetize every minute of every day, any kind of a break can just seem like another setback where we're just going to have more time that we have to give away to make up for that break that we took. And today I'm going to tell you that that is not true. Taking intentional breaks is one of the smartest and simplest ways to keep your energy, focus, and motivation alive throughout the duration of your entire day. As I mentioned, I recently put out a very quick 5-minute guided meditation that's designed exactly for that. It's just a simple and quick reset that helps you rest without losing any momentum. If you haven't checked it out yet, I will include a link in the show notes. All right, let's jump into some questions that you all submitted about taking breaks and staying productive and focused. Question number 1, the most popular question I have received about taking breaks is this: I feel guilty taking breaks during my busy day. How can I overcome that? This is such a common feeling and a common challenge. And I honestly think that a lot of it comes from this sort of cultural and societal myth that in order to succeed, we have to grind nonstop and hustle 24/7. But science tells us the exact opposite. Our brains actually need downtime to recharge, process what information you've already provided them, and be creative. I recently experienced this in a really powerful way for myself. I was chewing on kind of a challenging business question about the future of my businesses. And I'd been really kind of forcing myself to think about it and stress about it and spending a lot of time focusing on it. And I decided that I'm going to take some of my own advice and take a break. So I intentionally took 2 full days off on a weekend, which is unusual for me, and committed to not doing anything other than journaling, meditating, reading for fun, and resting. I wasn't going to think about my business challenges or my business questions. I was really just going to commit to being really intentional and taking a break and just seeing how I felt and hoping that I would come back on Monday recharged and ready to solve the problem. And what do you know? About halfway through the first day, I am hanging out, doing a little reading. I went down the rabbit hole on some strange fantasy books that my friends sent to me. And out of nowhere, I get this powerful insight that really addressed and solved all of the problems that I had been stressing about. And it just goes to show that when we allow our brain to relax and maybe chew on some junk food in the form of fantasy books, our brain is able to sort of think about everything that we've been cramming down its throat and actually produce a realistic and productive answer when you weren't even asking for it. It was in that space of my brain resting and calming down that I was able to find exactly what I was looking for. And I had this moment of like, gosh, universe, like I get it. You're really telling me to take my own advice and let the answer come to me without trying to force it. And that's exactly what happened. And I think a lot of us can think of times in our lives when we've had the same experiences. Maybe you're in the shower or you're walking the dog, and whatever you've been stressing about, finally, now that you've gotten some space from it, the answer comes. And it really goes back to this science that we're allowing our brain to process that data, recharge, and provide a better solution from that space of calm and peace. Sometimes I kind of like to think about our brain as our cell phones. When our battery is really low, you don't just keep trying to play more apps or watch another video on YouTube or listen to another podcast. You plug it in and you allow it to charge. And our bodies are not any different. We have to start thinking of it the same way. Our magical brains up here are really no different than these magical devices that we carry around and expect to produce answers. We have to let them recharge at some point if we want them to keep producing data and supporting our life. Those breaks are simply a way of recharging our internal batteries. So one way to shift away from the guilt is to see these breaks as a strategic investment in your productivity, knowing that when we rest well and rest our mind, we can come back stronger, clearer, and more focused than we were when we left. One way that I do this is by paying attention to kind of my energy and my heart rate when I'm really knee deep in the thick of something or a project. And when I start to feel my heart rate go up and I'm feeling kind of like frenzied, like I just want to get this done, I just want to get this done, I really have started telling myself finishing a project from that energy is not effective and it doesn't create the results that I want. But rather, if I take a break, walk away for 5 minutes, I can come back and wrap up the project in a cleaner space and do a much better job at it. So the second I see myself in that frenzied, I got to get this done, I got to wrap it up, kind of crazed pace, that's when I know that I'm sort of like taking 2 steps backwards from the progress that I've previously made. And I need to kind of take a break to protect the work that I've done and ensure that I finish the project strong. So that's another simple way to kind of reframe it as a means to finish strong instead of setting yourself back by pushing through and powering through. Question 2, how often should I take breaks without losing my workflow? This is a great question, and it's a classic lawyer question, right? Like we understand the problem, we understand the benefit of the breaks, and now we just want a really simple recipe because we're good at following instructions if we just get clear instructions. And the fact of the matter is that when it comes to taking breaks, there really isn't a one size fits all type of an answer. So I'm going to share with you some popular productivity techniques that you can use as a guideline. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest, or forge ahead and find your own way. A lot of you are probably familiar with a popular break technique called the Pomodoro method. That method asks us to work hard for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. For me, that never resonated with me because I wanted to kind of work longer stretches and actually accomplish something. And I always felt like it was hard for me to accomplish anything in 25 minutes. However, I do have clients that have utilized this technique and found it incredibly powerful. If this is something you want to play around with, there are apps available to do this, or download a simple meditation timer that has a little bit more of a gentle alert that you can use to time yourself for 25 minutes and then rest for 5 minutes. And what do you know? I have tons of 5-minute meditations that you can just slip right into that break time spot perfectly. Another simple way to commit to taking breaks is to just be mindful of your steps during the day. Again, as lawyers, we can be very goal driven and we want kind of concrete instructions. So one thing that I have engaged, especially working from home, is wearing a pedometer or a step tracker. Mine is on my watch. Some people buy separate ones to clip onto their clothing, whatever works for you. But that's my way of sort of knowing, hey, you haven't taken enough breaks yet. And a lot of times I'll simply step away from my computer and go hop on the treadmill and watch something dumb and mindless and give my mind a break for those few minutes. Or I'll go for a walk, or I'll sit outside and journal. But by checking in with that pedometer, I kind of know how often I've gotten away from the black hole that is my computer. So that's a very simple method for you to implement that might force you to set a goal, and that goal requires you to step away to complete it. More important than selecting a particular technique for yourself is to tune into your own energy and focus signals. If you start to feel like your mind is wandering, your shoulders are tight, or your body starts to get uncomfortable from sitting for too long, that is your body asking for a break. And pay attention to those things. And when you start to feel that, just recognize, okay, I've been sitting for too long. I've been focusing for too long. It's time for a short break. And that could simply be just taking a few deep breaths. It could be some stretching at your desk, even in your chair, or just a quick meditation. Any of those can refresh your focus without derailing your momentum. Question number 3, what are some simple break activities to recharge quickly? I know that I've already touched on a few options available to you, but I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of some of my favorites. Obviously, number 1 for me is a little bit of mindful breathing and maybe a 5-minute meditation. I actually used to keep a meditation pillow in my office because it forced me to step away from the screen, and my energy just shifts when I'm not sitting in front of my computer. Moving your body is also a very simple and obvious one. You can do some chair stretching. You can go for a walk, but even just rolling your shoulders and stretching your neck a little bit, taking a quick walk, any of those things can reboot your energy and help your brain reset. Drinking some water or stepping outside for a bit to get some fresh air. I know a lot of us try and drink a good amount of water every day. And so it may be something that you kind of tack on to that habit. Every time I go refill my water jug, I'm going to go stand outside and take a few breaths for a couple minutes and have a few drinks of water there before returning to work. Or I'm going to do some stretching or meditating when I go get my water before I come back to my seat, something like that. But just drinking the water itself can be really refreshing. And if you pair that with maybe a little excursion outside for a minute or two, the impact that nature has on your brain can really compound the advantages of that break. Last, journaling or setting an intention for your next period of work can also shift your mindset positively. Just the other day, I felt myself kind of getting into this panic mode of, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten enough done today. I wasn't able to kind of keep up with what I had planned for the day. And so I felt myself wanting to just kind of reach for that low hanging fruit and just execute 100 little things to kind of wrap up my day. And again, checking in with my body, I knew I was operating from an energy that wasn't particularly helpful for me. And so I stepped outside, I grabbed my journal, I just checked in with myself, and I set a real intention and got clear on what am I wanting to accomplish today? And are those 100 little bitty things that I was panicking and frenzied and trying to do real quickly, do they align with that goal or intention? Or is that just me trying not to judge myself by trying to be productive at the last minute? And it was really powerful because I was able to step back and see that those little things were just kind of busy work and they didn't really align with my greater intention for the day. And so I was able to reset, pick a different priority for the remainder of the day, focus my energy, and come away feeling like I had done something that really aligned with my overarching goals, and I didn't get sucked into that panic. So take a minute to journal. I'm a huge advocate of having journals everywhere that you may be in a moment wanting a journal. I've got one in my meditation room. I've got one in my office. I got one in my bedroom. I got one by my bookcases. They're everywhere because I want to have them as accessible as possible and not have to hunt them down when I need that moment just to check in and reset. So maybe it's writing an intention, maybe it's expressing gratitude, maybe it's just journaling about where you are, what's working and what's not working in that moment. Any of those are a simple way to reset, check in with yourself, and honor that experience and allow yourself space to come back stronger. Question 4, I struggle with distractions when I try to take breaks. Any advice? Yes. And this is so relatable because in this day and age, it seems like breaks can very easily spiral into kind of endless scrolling on social media, checking emails, or even going down the TikTok rabbit hole. And a lot of that can leave you feeling a little bit more drained. And some of it actually makes your brain a little bit more kind of frenzied, like TikTok. I always feel a little bit kind of frazzled when I'm switching from that like high input and overload on my brain, trying to get back to a more focused effort. So here's my advice. Create clear boundaries for your breaks because remember, we're talking about taking intentional breaks. So we're going to decide beforehand what you want to accomplish with that break and what your boundaries are with respect to the break. So maybe it's I'm silencing my phone, I'm stepping away from my computer, I'm not checking emails, I'm not answering my phone or any knocks at my door. I'm taking 5 minutes. I'm going to just breathe. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to meditate, or I'm going to sit here and journal or whatever it is. But being really clear with yourself about what you will or won't do during that time. In addition to that, setting a timer can be tremendously helpful. Again, a meditation timer is just a tool that is so handy for so many things to have on your phone, whether you meditate or not. But it's kind of a gentle tone that will tell you when your 5 minutes is up. It's not that kind of jarring sound that we get from a lot of alarms. So consider setting a 5-minute timer to hold yourself accountable to that commitment and to that intention around that break. And lastly, try to make your breaks fun and ritualize it a little bit. So maybe we turn on a calming playlist, or maybe you step away from your computer and you sit on a meditation pillow. Perhaps you light a candle. If candles aren't allowed in your office, spray some calming room spray or put on an essential oil that resonates with you so that your brain starts to learn, okay, this is the pattern associated with time to rest, time to recharge, and to not be distracted. And so by ritualizing it, we kind of help our brain recognize, okay, this is the time to settle in, calm down, and stop kind of chasing rabbits left, right, and center. All right, my friends, that is all for our listener question and answer today. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and for the thoughtful questions you continue to send in. I love them. If you have any that come up for you that you want me to address in a later episode, send them to autumn@theLawyerLifeCollective.com. I really love hearing from you and diving into topics that really matter to you and resonate with your well-being and your needs for productivity at work. Today, I hope you leave with this realization that truly taking breaks, it isn't stopping, it isn't a setback, it's simply preparing to move forward stronger, more intentional, and more focused. As we ease into summer, I want to wish you a happy, healthy, and safe season. Whether you're traveling, slowing down, or simply shifting into a new rhythm, this is really a powerful time to reset, recharge, and make a fresh plan for how you want to close out the year. If you're ready to explore what's next or just want a supportive space to regroup, I would love to connect with you. You can schedule a free 1-hour coaching consultation or join me for a virtual coffee. We can talk about how to use this season intentionally and set yourself up for a strong and meaningful finish to your year. And before we leave today, I want to tell you about some exciting upcoming things that I'm going to be releasing over the next several months. I am working on a brand new holistic podcast that's going to be launching soon. And if you want to be the first to know about when it drops, plus get access to other valuable tools, be sure to sign up for my monthly newsletter, which is available at theLawyerLifeCollective.com. This new holistic podcast is going to really focus on those tools like meditations, affirmation, manifestation, and mindful alignment that can truly change the course of your career. So I'm taking kind of those pieces that we love here in the Lawyer Life podcast, and I'm establishing a new podcast that really focuses on those entirely. So if you've enjoyed the meditations, if you're interested in digging deeper into this and potentially getting access to something every single day to hold you accountable, this podcast is going to be so in alignment with what you're looking for. I can't wait to tell you more about it when we roll it out later this year. If you head over to the website to sign up for the newsletter and be the first to hear about the new podcast, be sure to check out my on-demand series, How to Lawyer for Real. It is on sale for a huge summer discount. So again, if we're not working together, this email program, videos, readings, worksheets, tailored meditations are the easiest way to access all of my most essential coaching tools. Use them in your own time. They come into your inbox once a week for 6 weeks, and it is on a tremendous discount. So when you're at the website signing up for that newsletter, be sure to check that out as well. Until next time, my friends, take good care of yourself and keep that momentum going, one mindful break at a time. As always, thanks so much for listening, and thanks for sharing with your friends.